Well, I can't afford my house anymore. Not because I lost a job. I actually got a raise. My mortgage just went up.
We did everything we were supposed to do, and it still feels impossible.
Let's break down my mortgage payment of $7,120.
Yes, a shocking conclusion, right? You heard it right, $7,120 per month just for rent. Even in the comments below the video, someone had to say, the best solution for her right now is to hire a professional arsonist. But this is not uncommon. In 2026, the wave of regret after buying a house is exploding like a silent nuclear blast. People often blame sky-high house prices, 6 to 7% interest rates, or inflation. But what if I said house prices or interest rates are not the biggest reasons people are suffocating? There is a much more dangerous hidden culprit, one that is quietly turning the American dream into a life sentence of financial hardship. In today's video, we will dissect this matrix through the most bitter stories, decode the tricks of house flippers, and explain why in 2026, buying a house will become the perfect trap. Grab a glass of water, hit the subscribe button, and let's get started.
Our monthly mortgage takes up about half of our income, and it's uncomfy. When you rent, landlords usually require you earn 3 to 4 times the rent. So how did we end up approved for a mortgage that eats up 50% of our pay? Honestly, I wish I knew. On paper, we're comfortably middle class, and I know that's a huge privilege. But in reality, the astronomical cost of housing in our area has us living paycheck to paycheck.
Did you all just hear what she said? Half, 50% of the total monthly income goes straight into the house mortgage payment. Just hearing it is already suffocating, right? But the most bitter question she posed is exactly what many first-time homebuyers in 2026 are wondering. Why is there a reputable financial institution full of sharp minds that approved a large loan for a family, pushing them into a life of struggling paycheck to paycheck? Could it be that the bank is worse at calculating than we are? Could it be that they don't know how to spend money?
I'm going to be real with you guys. Homeownership is a little bit of a scam.
I just wanted to talk about homeowner regret. Now that I'm in the market, I don't think I made a great...
Welcome to the DTI Matrix, a completely legal, highly systematic mechanism, yet the softest trap that pushes millions of homeowners into the tragedy of being rich on paper but poor in real life. Let me explain in the simplest way possible, without any complicated financial jargon. DTI stands for debt to income, which means the debt to income ratio. When you take out a mortgage, the bank will look at this ratio to decide whether you have the ability to repay the loan. Sounds very responsible, right? But here's the ultimate twist. According to federal guidelines, with a conventional loan, the bank can approve a loan for you where the total debt amount can reach up to 50% of your income. And if you borrow through the FHA program, this number can even go up to 55%. But what is this 50% or 55% calculated on? It is calculated on gross income. Let me repeat. Gross income, that is the amount on paper before the government takes its share for taxes, before the company deducts health insurance, and before you have a chance to spend a single penny. The bank looks at that beautiful number and says, oh, you earn $5,000 a month? Great, you can definitely afford to pay 500 inches rent each month. But what about reality? After deducting income tax, the actual amount, net income, transferred to your bank account may only be $3,800. You hold $3,800 in actual money, but you have to bear a loan repayment of $2,500 based on that $5,000 illusion. So how much do you have left? A little over $1,000. And the bank happily ignores the fact that utility bills have doubled lately, gas prices have risen, supermarket food prices have skyrocketed, and your child still needs to eat every day. They don't care if you eat instant noodles or steak, they only care about the DTI number on the system showing green. Scrolling down to the comment section below the video, I saw a viewer leave a comment that I had to heart immediately. Look at the amount you can afford and aim for a significantly lower amount. If the bank says you can afford a mortgage of $3,000 a month, in reality, you can only handle about $1,800 a month. That's the mindset of someone living in the real world. The harsh truth is, banks approve loans not to ensure you have a comfortable, enjoyable life, weekends traveling, or sipping coffee at cafes. Their approval limit only represents the maximum risk the bank can accept, not a safe spending level for your life.
Pay $4,150 every single month for my mortgage. Honestly, when I first purchased the house, this mortgage was $3,000, which was really affordable. We have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in South Florida. However, after the first year, they increased the mortgage by $600 because it's a new build and they didn't properly account for taxes. Now, this is something that typically happens to homeowners who get new builds here in Florida. It's just something that we didn't know about until it happened to us. A year after that, they increased it to $4,150. So we've been in this house for 2 years, and that is our current mortgage. And we've been paying that mortgage rate since, I believe, October of last year.
Many young people, upon receiving the loan approval letter from the bank, are as overjoyed as if they had won the lottery. Oh, the bank approved a whopping $400,000 for me. Surely my finances are solid. But they don't know that the moment they sign that exorbitant loan contract, they have willingly put on the financial shackles called house poor, meaning they own an expensive house but always live in poverty, anxiously waiting for each paycheck. Therefore, if you find this video hitting the right spot or helping you gain some financial insight, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right away. Your support is the motivation for the channel to continue producing authentic content like this. So, after passing through the DTI matrix and stepping into the dream house, has everything turned out well? Has the nightmare stopped at the fixed monthly installment? The answer is, not yet, folks. The joy is short-lived. Because right after that, another cold splash named escrow and those spooky bills will knock on your door. And that's where your monthly installment payment transforms in the most horrifying way. Let's continue to see how this amount has devoured the wallets of homeowners.
I get a call yesterday. They're like, hey, you need to pay. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I fell behind. December kicked my ass with Christmas. And so I didn't make a full payment. I was like, all right, well, let me get caught up. Let me check my account. And then I asked, like, okay, what's the balance? And they told me a balance. And I was like, excuse me, there's what? And so they told me that my mortgage is now $2,500 a month. 2 years ago, I moved into this house.
Did you hear that wrong? From $1,450 to $2,500 a month. Increased by more than 0 inches just 2 years. While he didn't change jobs or spend extravagantly, many people who go to buy a house often hum the tune. Oh, renting a house means the landlord keeps raising the rent, but buying a house means fixed mortgage payments for 30 years, peace of mind for settling down. Actually, that thought is both right and bitterly wrong. The only fixed things are the principal and the initial interest rate. And there's a strange shape-shifting entity right in your monthly bill called escrow account. To make it easier to understand, each month the money you send to the bank is not only to pay off your mortgage, but the bank will also hold an amount for you to pay 2 things: property tax and homeowner's insurance. This is the escrow amount. But life isn't that peaceful. The value of real estate in the market is increasing? Boom! Property taxes increase accordingly. Material costs, labor, and weather risks are increasing? Boom! The insurance premiums skyrocketed to the treetops. By the end of the year, the bank sat down to recalculate and was startled to discover, oh no, this customer's escrow fund is short. And so they send you a fateful letter with 2 pieces of bad news at once. One is that you have to immediately compensate for the shortfall of the previous year, and 2 is that the monthly installment from this year will skyrocket to cover the new taxes and insurance. This double shock can blow away all of a family's financial plans overnight.
And listen to this. According to Lexard Capital Management, the typical homeowner pays nearly $1,800 more per month than renters once you factor in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and a potential HOA or PMI payments included. So they're just looking at the mortgage payment when you're coming up with that $900 per month difference. They're not factoring in all the additional costs of homeownership, because when you do, that difference now doubles to $1,800 per month difference between being a renter versus an owner today.
It doesn't stop there. One person commented, "My escrow account just increased by $350 month. This is how they turn us into people who don't actually own anything." Another person mentioned, "My mortgage went from $1,050 in 2016 to $1,393 in 2026. My salary hasn't increased at all. It's all due to escrow, taxes, and insurance. Now I'm planning to sell the house and will never buy it again." Hearing those shares, do you feel bitter? It leads us to an extremely valuable figure that anyone planning to buy a house in 2026 must memorize. According to financial analysis data, when all taxes, insurance, HOA management fees, and actual maintenance costs are summed up, a current homeowner has to spend an average of $1,800 more per month than a renter. Financial experts have a classic rule called the 2% maintenance rule. This means that each year, you need to be prepared to spend about 2% of the house's value just to maintain it so that it doesn't get damaged, eroded, or deteriorate. Let's do a quick calculation. You buy a house for $1 million. This means that each year you have to throw away about $20,000, which is more than $1,600 a month just to keep the house. Like when you first bought it, the water heater breaks down, the roof leaks, the water pipes burst, the wood gets infested with termites. All those expenses come out of your pocket. That's why there's a saying that circulates on real estate forums. The rent is the maximum amount you have to pay each month, while the mortgage is just the minimum amount you have to spend. At this point, many of you might click your tongue. Well, the operating costs are indeed high, but at least if we buy a really nice new house, or buy an old house that has been beautifully renovated flipped house, we can probably live comfortably for a few years without worrying, right? Oh, if you're thinking like that, then congratulations, you're about to step into an even darker, more thrilling, and shocking realm. Let's uncover the truth behind the pig's lipstick walls and the top-notch construction techniques of 2026.
You thought you saw about absolutely everything in a flip. Take a look at this. Nice countertops, brand new sink. Let's head under. The sink is held up by closet shelf brackets, drywall screwed into the side of the cabinets. That is awesome.
Do you see what I'm seeing? Here it is, the pinnacle of architectural art in 2026, a sink worth hundreds of dollars, located in a house just bought for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the load-bearing support system is 2 clothes racks bought from the supermarket. Welcome to the world of house flipping, a term that refers to investors buying up old, dilapidated houses, quickly renovating them, and then selling them at sky-high prices. Scrolling down the comments section, a skilled worker exclaimed a timeless phrase. "As a craftsman, I have witnessed too many flipped houses that are essentially just putting lipstick on a pig. Now everyone thinks they can become house flippers." And others added a sarcastic splash of cold water. They said the house was fixed incorrectly? Oh no, they fixed it perfectly because you already paid for it, right? That's right, folks. The formula for putting lipstick on a pig is very simple. Slap on a layer of trendy gray paint, relay the cheap industrial wood floor, hang a few sparkling pendant lights, and confidently shout an additional $200,000 increase. The house looks stunning in the advertisement, as if it stepped out of an interior design magazine. But the joy lasts only until the day you move in, turn on the shower, and discover that the main sewer line is clogged, causing sewage to back up straight into the basement. At this point, you might wonder, isn't it strange I had a proper home inspector check it out before buying? Oh, this is another sweet illusion. Many people think that inspection services are a universal talisman, but the truth is that many inspectors just skim the surface. They flip a few switches, run the faucet for 30 seconds, and then nod their heads while writing a perfect report. An upset person shared, "For those who think home inspections are everything, I once had to sue an inspector and won $90,000. Most of these brokers and inspectors operate very unscrupulously, without any regard for your interests." Meanwhile, others share their hard-earned experiences. "My inspector flooded the entire house and ran the machinery multiple times. The report I received was 80 pages long, complete with detailed photographs. He is indeed expensive, but you get what you pay for." So you clicked your tongue. "Afraid the old house is too made up, then I'll gather my money to buy a new build." from the big corporations, for sure. Congratulations, you just stepped out of the bushes and into the tiger's den. Buying a newly built house in 2026 can sometimes be a bittersweet experience. Due to pressure on progress and profit optimization, many new projects are being constructed rapidly by a workforce lacking skills. One account left a bitter yet humorous comment: "My nieces build houses with Lego that look more solid and decent than these newly constructed housing projects." The house was just handed over a few weeks ago, and the walls are cracking, the water pipes are leaking underground, and the ground floor toilet is leaking water at the base. And when the workers broke down the drywall for warranty repairs, they found an empty beer bottle that the mason had casually stuffed in last year. What a surprising housewarming gift. If you find these revealing analyses useful, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to support me. Your clicks help the YouTube algorithm show this video to more people who are considering buying a house. At this point, do you notice anything strange? We have talked about high mortgage payments, escrow traps, broken houses, and shoddy workmanship. But all of those things are just the tip of the iceberg. There are people who buy good houses, have decent finances, but by 2026, they still regret bitterly. Why is that? What is the core, deepest reason behind the surge of regret this year? It lies in a psychological concept that 90% of homebuyers have never considered: lifestyle misalignment. Let's take a step to unveil this big picture. And this is the moment we unveil the truth. From the beginning of the video until now, we have dissected enough issues. From the DTI debt trap, the escrow shock, land taxes, to the poorly constructed houses. But if you think that's the biggest reason why home buyers in 2026 will fall into crisis, then you're mistaken. All of those things are just kindling. And the real powder keg lies here. Lifestyle misalignment. Society has implanted a rigid cultural script in our minds. Graduate, get a job, get married, and then buy a spacious house to be considered mature, to be considered successful. So many people rush into buying houses not because they actually need or want to live in that house, but because of social comparison pressure. They are trying to scrape together money to buy a 2000 SQFT, over 180 square meters house. And what was the result? One person made a perfectly accurate comment below. "I started with a small house and then upgraded gradually." Many people, just starting out in life, demand to have their dream house right away. 2000 SQFT is too spacious for two people to live in? That's right. They buy a big house only to turn themselves into cleaning slaves every weekend. After a week of exhausting work, instead of resting on the weekend, they have to drag out the lawnmower and clean 3 to 4 empty rooms that no one uses. That's not all. Because the prices of houses in the city center are too high, they console themselves. Let's endure a bit of distance, driving an hour each way, but we can buy a spacious house at a reasonable price. But listen to the heartfelt comments below. In the past, commuting was cheap and buying a house was cheap. Now both things are equally expensive. You sacrifice 2 hours of your life every day just to inhale dust on the highway. Waking up at 5:30 a.m., getting home at 7:30 p.m. in an exhausted state. The dream house at this moment is no different from an expensive hotel where you just stop by to sleep for a few hours and then leave. You no longer have the time or energy to enjoy it, do you? From a psychological perspective, this is an extremely dangerous emotional trap. People think buying a house will bring a sense of safety and career stability. But when that house devours all their savings, drains their free time, and forces them into an unbreakable work cycle, the feeling of safety turns into the fear of being trapped. They realize they had just signed a commitment that restricted their freedom for 30 years. Dare not change jobs, dare not take a break, dare not travel, because just stopping for a month will cause a tsunami of bills to drown them immediately. The gap between thinking that owning a house will bring happiness and the suffocating daily reality is the trigger for the biggest wave of regret in 2026. If you find this psychological analysis resonates with reality, please like and comment your thoughts below. Your shares are the pieces that help the community have a clearer perspective before spending money on buying a house. So, in the face of this financial maze and psychological traps, is there a way out for young people in 2026? Do we necessarily have to buy a house at all costs? Or is it time to redefine the entire concept of settling down? Let's explore new solutions and financial mindsets that can help you escape this trap. At this point, many of you must be confused and sighing. So, are we all giving up in 2026 and no one will buy houses anymore? Not at all, everyone. Buying a house is still a wonderful goal, if you do it for the right reasons and at the right time. But it's time for us to bravely break the old cultural script to redefine what true financial freedom is. A woman shares, "I am 58 years old this year, and I have never bought a house. Instead, I traveled around the world, invested diligently, and have been enjoying a leisurely retirement for the past 2 years. Freedom means everything to me." Buying a house is just a trap of the American dream for many people. I love the rental life. Renting a house is not throwing money out the window, as people often say. The money you pay for rent is essentially the cost of buying freedom. The freedom to change jobs, the freedom to move cities, the freedom to not be startled at 1 a.m. by a leaking roof or a burst pipe. So if you still want to own a house in the future, what are the golden rules that will help you never have to utter the word regret? First, dispel the illusion. The dream house from the start. Start small. An apartment that fits your actual needs is much better than a 2,000 square foot house with 3 empty rooms, leaving you with a suffocating debt. Secondly, calculate based on net income. Ignore the fancy DTI numbers that the bank presents. Take the actual amount transferred to your account each month, subtract the cost of food and living expenses, and ensure that the housing cost, including taxes, insurance, HOA fees, does not exceed 30% of that amount. Third, prepare escrow and maintenance reserve fund. Always have a separate savings amount equivalent to 2 to 3% of the home's value set aside for unexpected repairs. Never spend every last penny on the down payment, only to be left with nothing when you move into your new home. Every choice in life comes with its price. Renting a house or buying a house, neither is completely right or completely wrong, only what is suitable for your current life priorities. And what about you? Facing the real estate maze of 2026, are you on the side of determined to buy a house at all costs for settlement, or on the side of preferring to rent to maintain full freedom in cash? Please leave your bitter perspectives or hard-earned experiences in the comments section. I read all your comments. If you find this video accurately dissecting the reality and bringing value to you, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell so you don't miss the next in-depth analysis videos. Your support is the biggest motivation for me to continue creating content. The content in this video is for entertainment purposes only, providing information and personal perspectives based on publicly available data, documents, and community feedback. The video is not and cannot be considered professional, financial, investment, or legal advice. All your decisions regarding buying, borrowing, or investing in real estate should be directly consulted with licensed financial experts, lawyers, or advisory firms.